fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
To the YouTube audience as we simulcast our November State of the Game. Welcome in, Rev Deuce.
Thanks, DJ. I haven't held the title in like 3 years, but I appreciate you still using it. That's very nice of you.
The Rev Deuce. You will always be the Rev
No,
Deuce.
not the. You said Reverend, and I haven't actually used the title in forever.
That's the Reverend Deuce. I mean, that's what it is, right? We can't. I mean, okay.
I mean, do you ever lose that title? I don't know.
I don't think so. Like,
I haven't paid my dues, so I can say that. It's
yeah, you still got the certificate. Okay,
I think it's a lifetime position, really.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So now, listen. As we had discussed, as I had talked to the panel earlier, we are going to kind of rein this in. I know there's been a little bit of chatter while we were waiting on Rev to come in, but we've got serious business to attend to here today. So I will ask the panel to kind of reserve some of your comments until we get a little bit later in the show, because we've got a massive list of things that we need to get to, right? Rev, you and I had prepared a lot of stuff. So let's kind of just dive right in. I'd like to start with number one, and maybe what we can do, Rev, is just kind of go back and forth with some of these items and give Echo an opportunity to
because you had a big, long list, and a lot of your list was like QOL stuff and everything. Do you want to separate it between features and then like the bug list? Because if we go back and forth, almost everything on my list was bugs. So.
Well, that's good. I don't know that we need to necessarily categorically, identify them, but let's just get what he's got to say. And just to kind of keep things flowing, we'll kind of bounce back and forth. That way we can get some of the most pressing things from all of the communities ready to go. Echo, I'll start with the first one. Please just, what's going on with Apex? I mean, that's got to be number one on our list, right? Community, is that number one?
Yeah.
It's got to be number one, right? Echo, what can you tell us about these Apex hostiles? I mean, we're approaching 4 months of a paid feature that just doesn't function properly. So you guys have got to have something for us here.
And I do. So essentially, we are, because like I've alluded to a couple of times, like the reason this is happening is like very weird. I don't have all of the specifics on like the technology side of it, but like we've been investigating it for 4 months, and it's just very difficult to pinpoint exactly what is causing this interaction. But in the meantime, we are going to do some short-term fixes, right? Like we're going to look at a way to alleviate this. So what we're talking about investigating right now is potentially increasing the amount of Apex hostiles in the system. There are some other ideas that we have right now as well. So when we have full information on what we are going to do, then we will let everybody know. But right now, that is the sort of thing that we're looking at the most, is just increasing the Apex spawns from like, I think 1 to 3, but that is by no way confirmed yet, because there's a lot of just discussion and investigation that's to go around when we're changing the loop in that way.
Actually, looking at the chat right now, that does not seem to be an unpopular or a dissatisfactory answer, Echo. So yeah, I'm kind of pleased about that. The community seems to be pretty positive about that. I think the bigger sense of hesitation that I'm getting from the chat right now is, yeah, but how long are we going to have to wait on something like that? It sounds like a great idea. I see a lot of people. That would be fantastic. This would be great. Can you imagine when everybody gets the Mantis? Like, this is going to be a fantastic thing. I do see Captain Oblivious saying, listen, are we sure, though, that just more Apexes aren't going to lead to more broken Apexes?
Well, that's the thing. It's a Band-Aid, and we're all aware of it, right? We do not feel like just baseline. This again is just an example of something that we're investigating as what we can do. And I personally feel like this will come sooner rather than later. But again, I need to get more information on like the tech difficulties, because I'm not game design and I'm not an engineer. But we're aware that if we were to do something like this, like increase the amount of Apex spots, if all of them get frozen, then it doesn't fix anything. The likelihood of that happening is relatively small from what I understand. But Yeah, I'll be sure to keep everybody posted because I know that this has been the
But
top of everybody's list.
do you have like an ETA? Because here's the, I mean, as I said, 4 months into this, obviously the people who have it now paid for it 4 months ago. Is there an ETA of this actually rolling out before we even, finish the year? Is this Q1 2023? I mean, you're making a lot of people wait for, like I said, something that we've spent on. And I think that is what really frustrates people the most is if anything's going to work, it should be the things that we've spent money on.
Our hope is December.
Okay.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a time frame.
Yeah,
Our
I mean,
hope.
December's
is
literally a week away.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there, folks. So, real quick, Rev, I just had to turn you up to like 200%. The chat's saying they're having a hard time hearing you. Maybe you're.
It's not a guaranteed there will be more Apex spawns in December, but we are trying our best. They have a hard time hearing me.
No, Rev is really quiet. I had to turn him up too.
That's
To
curious.
like 200. Yeah, so if you
Oh.
can try to jam your input audio up there just a little bit, I'd appreciate that.
Mhm.
So maybe potentially as early as December, which again I remind you guys is only 8 days away. So I mean that's not horrific. If indeed it happens, obviously it's not going to happen on the 1st. If he's saying December, that's probably going to come around the December ARC launch or the December patch. And hopefully that is what happens there. I guess it could also happen mid-month patch as well if you guys don't have it ready. But yeah, man, I would light some fire over there to get that done sooner than later. To kind of touch on Rev's question, maybe a little bit deeper and something I'm seeing in the chat. Echo, there is the problem here of a product that hasn't worked, that has been paid only, right? Obviously, I know firsthand that in a crisis situation, the first thing you do is you try to resolve the problem. Then you can go to, compensation. Then you can go to what you do afterwards. But surely that has been discussed, right? Like there has to be an acknowledgement for something for the owners of the Mantis who have had it for 4 months, who did pay for it, who really haven't been able to use it. Like that has to be at the back of your minds, right? Like it's not going to be.
And is
swept
there a
under the
form
rug.
of compensation? Like, what are y'all considering for that? Because I know I've already seen it in DJ's chat several times. How are you going to compensate players who went through all that effort to purchase the ship, try to use it? And like for me, I mean, and I'm not trying to just rail on you about it, but like I haven't used my Mantis in 3 weeks besides just stinging people because they've gotten to the point where, and Trader can attest, I know we've got the rest of the game kind of quiet, but server 20, we're up to what, 5 systems of Apex are broke. So I don't even try anymore. And that's just, it's kind of a waste for a lot of the players.
Yeah, no, this is definitely something that's been like we discuss the Apex and Frozen Hostiles multiple times every week, like I said last time, right? And I was really glad that I can give you at least some inclination of what we're working towards right now. And there's always this sort of comment of when this is fully resolved, then what? I like you said, Rev and DJ, like the priority right now is short term and then longer term fix. So once those are in place, then we'll probably have much more active discussions about what we can do for all of those that have had the Mantis for all of this time and have been encountering this issue for the past months.
Just to follow up there, and then I'll hand it over to Rev for his next topic. Subkino asked the question that I had wanted to follow up with. Echo, you had talked to us originally about a script that was running to unfreeze these. That script, A, is it still running with high frequency? And B, is it actually doing anything? Because we have seen some systems like get unstuck, but then others haven't. Like we've got some systems that have been the same hostile stuck for 2-3 weeks, even though the script runs. So the script does not appear to be the fix that they wanted it to be, even short term. Is that script still running, or have they stopped doing it because it ain't working?
It still is running as far as I am aware, and I will follow up to verify, but I am 99% sure it's still running. But that just shows like this is a more complex issue than it appears on the surface, right? It's not like any of us want this hostile to be stuck. It's not that we want the Mantis loop that people have invested their time and resources into to not work properly. Like this is a major concern for us, and it's just
out of because to my
difficult.
knowledge, it's the exact same way that the broken node script was, that it's something that y'all run manually, especially like on an update. So, and I've seen, as DJ points out, I know it's going to vary player to player experience, because plenty in chat saying that some of theirs have never been fixed. There have definitely been servers that have come to me and said, hey, our stuff's working now. And then at the same time, it's not working for others. Is this something that y'all just have to manually run on each server? Do you have like a time schedule of when y'all are doing that? I mean, any form of communication you can give the players who are just at a high level of frustration now for that.
No, for sure. So originally when the script was started, it had to be run manually per server.
Oof.
Now, from what I've heard, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, the script was modified so that it could run on every server simultaneously. Now, I believe that is still something that has to be manually done. I'm not sure if it's automated at this point. I can follow up on that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the insight into the script. It was literally somebody running the script per server. Now I believe it can run on every server simultaneously. I still think somebody has to push the button.
It's a lot of manual labor over there, and a lot of room for error. One server getting missed, or one person not remembering to hit that button before they clock out for the day ends. Ugh. Okay, Rev, you've got quite a full list as well. Let's move on. We've got progress. It sounds like moving forward on the Apex Hostiles. Still nothing yet, but hopefully can keep our fingers crossed towards some positive motion there. Rev, what do you got in terms of bug fixes for
the list
President Echo?
It's long. So we'll grab a couple. Obviously, Apex is at the top of the list when we went through just my community listing in terms of importance. I do want to do a positive real quick. We'd like to mix a little positive with all the bashing that President Eco will be experiencing today. The Discovery. Thank y'all for fixing the Discovery ability to summon from your home base, and not just changing the description and leaving it like that. It has now been actually fixed. That's nice.
That's so weird. That's such a weird thing.
It was weird, wasn't it? Yeah.
Why did the tooltip get changed?
Yeah, that's just it's just going to make people mad when you do that.
Changed so that people understood this was going on until the fix.
But that's not how it came across. It came across as our fix is we're just going to change the description. That's how people interpreted it. And thank you for fixing it, actually. And now people who didn't know that you can, again, disco from your home base. DJ, play your applause soundtrack.
Okay, applause soundtrack. There you go.
There you go.
I thought that was really interesting, Rev, because, I mean, of all the things that are going wrong in the game, all the things that Scopely HQ engineers could be working on, to take the time to update a tooltip just felt weird. Moreover, it's never happened before.
The localization thing, DJ.
Okay. Still.
It's literally just somebody going and changing a description really quickly.
Okay. Where are we on changing the description for, like, I don't know, say Paul Zhao or Severus or DJ Oki?
Yeah, or making DJ Oki work in Armadas, even though he works the exact same way as 5 or Zhao, but he's deactivated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Captain Planet says it happened with Pike. Yeah, but it took 2 years, dude. Like, it took 2 years. So I'm just curious. But obviously, it came back. Trader even made fun of me because I said, very unpopularly, by the way, I said that I actually could adjust. Like, it's not that I wanted it to stay that way, Rev, but I could have adjusted to it because I found that people were fumbling around with it, and I was blowing up more ships as a result, which, for me, that would... But obviously, I knew it was going to be fixed. I wanted it to be fixed for everybody. And so I'm glad that it was. That is a good thing. It just kind of, the whole transition kind of felt a little bit wonky. And so I have to ask, maybe this is Rev's question, I don't know. Was that higher priority than Apex Hostiles, for example? Because that got fixed pretty quick.
It's probably easier. The hostile issue, from my understanding from talking to GD, is this is a hostile issue that's existed from the beginning of the game and is exacerbated because Apex is a singular hostile type in a system. Whereas the disco breaking was like, oh, let's compare this patch versus this patch. What screwed up? Let's fix it. And the hostile issue is the game's been broken since inception, and this just made it more obvious. And correct me if I'm wrong, Eco.
No, that's exactly right. I think we've seen that when we're grinding in like any system, like there will be that one surveyor that just like you can click on, but you can't target, right? This has been around since I've started playing the game, and I'm sure it predates that. And so we're talking about something that is like core to the game that we're trying to investigate versus the discovery, like Rev just said, like we can literally just look at, okay, it worked here, it's not working here, what changed, and just manually adjust it, right?
Okay.
So
yeah, I just thought.
And by the way, I'm not making an excuse for 4 months. That is still completely unacceptable, but it is a much more difficult problem.
Rev, I would never assume you were making an excuse for it.
Good. I'm glad.
All right. So Discovery is working. I have a question.
Yeah.
And then like I'll circle back around to Rev. I just have a quick question for Echo. I'm kind of curious. Are you aware that your treasury is full?
Oh my gosh.
I'm just curious.
Is it?
Just in case there was not
sure if the treasury was ready to be unlocked.
Just in case there wasn't enough
Benny Hill's
notification.
That meme is hilarious. If you made that, that's amazing.
Oh, there are so many good memes.
There are some
great
ones. There's some great ones.
I am not downplaying how impactful this issue was. But the memes that came because of this issue
so good. Yeah.
have been absolutely A+ top tier.
Real quick, just if somebody doesn't mind, pin the trader, go in and pin the very first one. And you guys throw up all of your treasury memes right now. Just throw them in the chat. We'll pin the first ones. That way people who are listening in podcast or later on YouTube can come in and actually see all of them. All right. All the treasury memes that you've got right now, we'll do that. We'll pin the first one so you can kind of go back and look at all of them. Tony Rome's, I haven't seen that one yet.
That's a good one too.
I feel like I want to make a community event of people just submitting their treasury memes, and we can pick out the best ones.
Yeah, pick out the best ones and give a winner.
Have a little bit of fun as a result. Okay, look, last best of loaves, that's great. I mean,
I didn't want to look at like too early because if you, like obviously it's not. Let's just be real. It's very impactful. It's not a pleasant experience for everybody that's experiencing it.
Mm-hmm.
Making jokes about it too soon, especially as like in my position, is like not always a good thing. I kind of like to let the wound heal a little bit first, but I feel like we're starting to get to a better place now-ish.
I think that the fact that the community has been able to have a little bit of fun with this has been a welcome thing. It allows
we're at the either laugh or cry stage.
Yeah. Now, listen, in fairness, all right, and I'm going to represent this point because I know he's wanting to. In fairness, there was, and I don't even know. First of all, so let me kind of give you a perspective of a smaller segment of the community, Echo, and then I'd like for you to kind of tell us what you know about this bug because honestly, obviously, it was a bug. It wasn't intended to be this way. It wasn't intended to be persistent. It wasn't intended to be flashy. It wasn't intended to be stroby. It wasn't intended to show up a bunch of gazillion times. Clearly, something happened that you guys did not expect, and this came out. But there is maybe a small section of the community, but there is a section of the community where this could have actually, like, tweaked them out. Okay, like we've seen some examples of it actually strobing the screen. That could be dangerous for some people. Echo, I guess I'm kind of curious with what level of severity you guys treated this. Obviously, it was a big deal. The community, most of them are having a little bit of a laugh about it because, like Karkin says, you can either laugh or cry at this point. But there were some people that literally had to log off the game. Like they could not look at their screen because of, an epileptic episode or something like that. This, to me, felt like something that needed to be a little bit higher priority than maybe what it is. I mean, here we are a couple of days later, and this is still happening for some people. Some people say, listen, I really can't even get in the game because, I'm a little bit concerned about my eyesight or how my brain is going to react. So this has to be a high priority. I mean, you guys know strobing things, they have to put up disclaimers. In movies, you got to put up disclaimers and like photo booths and this stuff. This is an issue for some players. Can you tell us what's actually going on and the degree of which Scopely is actively working around the clock to get this fixed?
Yes, I can give information on this. So Beck and I almost responded to your message at 2 a.m, Bubba. On, I guess, technically 2 a.m. Monday, but Sunday night we saw it, and we were crafting messaging around it because we had been talking with the team throughout the weekend about it, right? And we had big war room on Monday to talk about the execution of what we're going to do. And there was the discussion of turning off the Treasury. There was the discussion of leaving the Treasury on and compensating. There was a discussion around how are we going to fix this for, and so it never happens again. There was a lot. Basically, to give people information, if we could have just instantly hit a button to turn off the banner, we would. Unfortunately, because of how the tech works and like how this banner is implemented, it would require a full client push. That means that to get this changed, we would have to submit builds to Google and Apple, which takes time to get approved. So that's why it wasn't just instantly turned off. To go from there, we then discussed, let's just turn off the Treasury, right? Get this gone and out. However, there was a couple of things that we were thinking about. Is that from what you, DJ, all the content creators, and a lot of players have had said to us, that the Treasury is by far the best value that you can get within Star Trek Fleet Command. And there was Jayla shards and Cisco shards and a lot of things that people really, really potentially wanted. So we felt that it would be not detrimental, but hinder a lot of people's progress if we just straight up turned it off. However, we also were talking with legal and thinking about people's health, and we never want people to be put into a situation where they're impacting or risking their health. So, which is why within the gift we gave the loyalty tokens as well, so that if people needed to, they could just not look at Star Trek Fleet Command for the next 3 days until the Treasury is done. So that was the thought process. Honestly, we are very aware that this was, with what the decision we had was turn off the Treasury or keep it on and comp, it was a lose-lose situation. Like somebody was going to be impacted in a negative way, and that stinks. None of us wants that. We tried to find the best compromise, and you know how much I love that word, Rev, compromise solution that everybody sort of got what they wanted, and hopefully an issue of this sort of magnitude never pops up again.
Do y'all have an actual fix for like
that was more
next
information
month
than just presidential? What?
I'm like, do y'all actually have like a fix? Because obviously Treasury's going to run again next month. Are we sure it's not going to happen next month? Just to let everybody know that.
I mean,
obviously you can't guarantee the game won't break, but did you identify the problem and it won't happen next month, right?
Yes. We've identified the problem. A fix has been created to hopefully make sure this doesn't happen again. Yes, it's already done.
I'm a little, and I get it. I hear what you're saying, and I even accept it. All right, but
I accept it, but I
mean, Echo, I got a little bit of a problem with it. Okay, I mean, today is what, day 5 of the Treasury? I don't even know. I don't remember what day it was.
2.5 days left, I think.
So today would be day 5 then. All right, if you've already identified the issue, all right, I guess I've got 2 problems with this. One is this banner was obviously new. Okay, so when you're talking about, well, yes, we would need to push a new client. To me, if you're looking at something like this that could be health impacting, all right, not even just mechanically, but could be something like this, push the damn client.
Yeah.
Okay, turn off the banner, push the client. Because at this point now, we're on day 5, Echo. You could have pushed a client, and no, it would not have gone up on day 1. It might have not gone up on day 2. But it would have gone up before day 5, and we still have it, and we still have 2 more days of it. Push the flipping client, okay?
You can't submit a client for review on Saturday or Sunday. Google and Apple do not review then, and it takes
can I ask
longer to review than the Treasury ending.
I get the client update part of it, but can I ask, because you've heard, like we've even talked about it on my show, you've heard a lot of feedback, mostly not good, about the whole thing with pips, notifications, and banners. Why create the Treasury banner in the first place? I mean, I hate to just like drag out this, but these are not features that are getting asked for. Why create it at all?
I mean, I would have to ask what the thought process around this was. I think the big concern was that there are some people that are just experiencing the Treasury for the first time that didn't have the rollout like in the Ferengi arc. And we wanted to make sure that people understood that this was a mechanic within Star Trek Fleet Command, that it happens, essentially once a month, and that people knew that it was there for them to do.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, and I accept that, would it not only be less man hours and less work, but more efficient just to post an in-game news? Hey, everybody, don't forget, Treasury starts this week. This is how it works. This is, if you need to know, here's a link to our post on the website, which you do have.
What was the actual intent? I mean, I'm sure you guys didn't work on a flashy new banner to display one time. What was the actual intent of this thing? Like, what was it supposed to show up every time you hit a hostile? Was it supposed to show up, say, every 30 minutes or every 60 minutes?
No,
I mean, what was the intent?
I think it was, from what I understand, I think it was supposed to show up once.
Why?
Well, if that's the case, IGN it. I mean, just okay. I was curious. I shouldn't have asked the question.
I think it's a question that needed to be asked. It's kind of the elephant in the room. I understand you guys are working on UI stuff, and listen, let's be fair. The banner doesn't look bad. Okay, the banner doesn't look bad. I'm fine with it if it shows up one time, but this is the stuff we talk about, Echo. Like, how does this get through testing? Like, how does nobody on the development server clearly filled their treasury because, and therefore, nobody could have seen this banner and its behavior. Okay? Because there's no way that this client goes out this way.
Yeah.
All right? This is another piece, and I'm sorry, I'm getting off the beaten path here. This is part of what frustrates the community so much. All right? This banner is so silly and so simple that has really, like, aside from the health impacts, which I'm not minimizing, but the majority of the community, as Karkin said, we're just laughing about it because of how ridiculous it is. But why? Why does this ridiculousn's continue to happen? I don't know. You don't need to answer that.
Again, this is just an outpouring of frustration, like the pips were and things. It's, I've sent it to you, and I've sent it to GD, and I know DJ has these talks. I posted you a list of just like player mentions of the top bugs in the game, and nobody asked for banners. So that's the frustration, is things getting put in that people don't want, while other things being, we feel like, ignored.
Also, like customer support is saying, and like Benny Hill just posted, like, it wasn't supposed to be visible for this treasury. Right? So,
all right,
again, anyway, the banner wasn't even okay.
Just because I know we have time to use, so let's move. Before we leave the Apex issue completely, what is the plan, and what is Scopely's desire when it comes to the Exocomps? Are they supposed to activate automatically as originally designed? Are they going to be manually activated now? Why is there a flip-flop between the two? What's the plan there?
For the Mantis specifically, right?
Yes, just the Mantis Exocomps.
They're supposed to activate automatically. I'm not sure
routinely doesn't happen. It happens sometimes for some, never for others. So there's a big issue. What is the actual plan for that? Personally, I hate manually activating them. I think they should be auto, but there are people who are split on that. What does Scopely intend to do? Like, what's y'all's plan and vision for it, and when will that get addressed?
I haven't asked what the vision is because just like you said, some people like being able to manually activate it because, what if they're done with a grind session and then they get an exocomp and they feel like they have to stick around for another X amount of hostiles until the buff runs out. And then, like you're saying, and it's totally valid, like when you get that resource and manually activating it is a pain. So I think that there is a discussion to be had about if there is a middle ground solution for both of these. If there is a way to basically like automatically trigger, or you toggle something to make it so you can't, if that's possible technology wise. So let me follow up and figure out what we can do with this. And then if it has to be just one or the other, figuring out what is going to be the best overall for the community.
Well, why doesn't it work as why doesn't it work like it was supposed to from the beginning? It's one thing to make a design change based on feedback.
Yeah, so we're talking about it being a bug.
But there's also the issue of it doesn't flip and work the way you guys wanted it to in the first place. So I understand. Listen, taking a poll or feeding back from the community about how they want it to be is fine, but we haven't yet gotten it to be how you wanted it to be. So how can we know? You know what I'm saying?
A reason for the pause is also because the way that we want it isn't necessarily the way that the community wanted based off feedback, right? So
I'd be really curious to see the results of that poll too.
So you've actually paused. What you're saying is you guys are.
We did. I'm just saying I don't know the real reason, but I'm saying that having this pause isn't a bad thing, so that we can have this discussion.
I guess I'm curious about the sentiment in the community about who wants it manually. I just assume I would want it to work the way that I would expect it to work. I hate going in to the gifts tab, then down to the consumables tab, then scrolling all the way to the right. Like that to me is very unnecessary clicking. Now, if there's somebody out there who wants it manually, I guess that
I've run into a lot of people that want it manually, and so I'm not trying to push them to the side. I mean, I hate it because it's more clicking in the game. It's more time I have to spend, and honestly, little bias put in here.
People that want manual.
Well, they're there. I see it. There for sure.
Right? Yeah. Now I see it in here. Manual activation. Okay. Well, then that's
maybe,
valid.
That's something me and you could do, DJ. We'll create some polls and see where people lean. I don't know. But
okay. Coming back and circling back on something like that, and you know what, Rev, I'm now seeing the wisdom in your keeping it segmented thing, because I wanted to come back to Treasury.
DJ's going all over the place now.
Somebody clip that? Well, I need to put that in my channel.
I know. I apologize. Rev obviously had better organizational skills for today. Shocking! He organizes things better than I do.
Rev Deuce looks at point A to point B and has a little check mark.
I am a very logical, analytical type.
DJ's thought process is a tree.
In fairness, I started on Apex. Then he went to Disco. Then I came to Treasury. Then he went back to Apex.
To think. I just was
then he went back to Apex. All right, and now I want to go back to Treasury. You had mentioned the comp. All right, and the comp being so that players could get through. Now, there's been a lot of question about this. I know, obviously, I've shared the conversation that you and I had. Rev has shared the conversation that we had internally, but a lot of players may not necessarily believe that you guys intended to give away 40 days worth of this token. Now, you had mentioned it here just a second ago, and honestly, I hadn't, even I may have wondered, Rev, why 40 days instead of 30? But Echo just kind of let it slip, and I didn't even connect the dots until just now. 40 days of this is probably equal, roughly, to the contents of a Treasury, right? I mean, is that why 40 was decided on, Echo? Because you guys obviously did come out and say.
Well, it also, DJ, makes sure that everybody plays throughout the end of the year and throughout DS9 every day.
Well, some people in our community said, well, this is encouraging people to spend. And I don't dispute that. I'll tell you why, Rev. This is, no, I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm
curious on the logic of that one.
Because 4 months ago, this chest was changed. Only 4 months ago, this chest was actually changed. And nobody knew. Listen, in fairness, it had gone a long time, Rev, without an evolutionary update. All right.
Correct.
But we were told when it changed, and it was about 3-4 months ago. So I see validity in drawing attention to it. Okay, I see validity in people coming and seeing, holy crap, this is actually a good pack. We were talking about it on Twitch the other night, Rev. Like, people didn't understand the dollar value that came with it, that came as a result of this, and even the dollar value you gave to it. I gave a different dollar value to it because of how this pack is built. So,
and that will vary by server. That's something to bring.
That's true. That's true. But I think just looking at this thing is giving exposure. The fact that you guys have given 40 days, it does several things. It does make sure that people are logging in. It does make sure that people are looking at it. It's also saying, hey, look what we did 4 months ago that maybe you missed out on. This pack is actually decent value now. And then not only that, but we just come back to the fact that it is a generous comp. It is several thousand materials for almost all ops levels of the game, and it's given freely as a result of things that were happening. And now I'm seeing one more point, which was, golly, you take 40 days of this, and it does come very, very close to what would be in a treasury. So, Echo, you had mentioned we want to make sure that players don't miss their treasury by not being able to play, and maybe this does that, maybe a little bit longer period of time. But let's circle back to the generosity of this comp. A, it was intended, and B, it's kind of unprecedented. You know, as a matter of fact, I can remember one comp, and Rev, you'll remember this.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in the days of Panic. You remember when that huge Tritanium comp came out, and they said it was basically for like a year's worth of miscalculations when it comes to repair costs? And at the time, it was a massive Tritanium gift.
Bring back con repair cost. Who remembers?
That's it. This is like 2-3 years ago, man. And that Tritanium.
That's longer than that, man. That was 2019 when the con repair cost was a thing.
I'm telling you, that comp chest was probably one of the most generous in the game. And no, Simpy says, why does it sound like you're complaining? I don't think does it sound like I am? I'm definitely not. I'm trying to provide a little bit of context, because some people, Echo, have just come out and said, well, you know, not good enough. I've actually gotten that, Rev. I've gotten from players not good enough.
I like to think of myself as the hardest on Scopely with some of these type of things. But in this instance, I really feel like the comp matches the severity of the problem. Like, I really feel like Scopely did what they needed to do to give players what they're either missing or couldn't accrue, or just for their pain and suffering. This is an instance where I'm not going to complain. I think that they did a great job.
I think it's good. Echo, you were a driving force behind this. Obviously, there were other people that had to have conversations, and I'm sure that somebody might have come to you and said, are you flipping crazy? Like, tell me a little bit, how did you push this over the edge? Because this is a huge comp.
Over the edge. I think that we all know
Beck did it.
Who deserves credit for this, DJ. But again, I think one of the things that we really tried to showcase this month with, you know, update 48 and update 48.1, and something that we've been saying for months now, is we want to be better, right? I've been here for what, 8-9 months now, DJ, Rev, roughly, give or take.
Yeah. I think you've been in the front of the public for about 6 months now. So
yeah, I think that it's pretty clear that update 48, from an implementation tech update goes out standpoint, was the smoothest I've ever experienced, right? Like, very minimal issues popped up. Things worked correctly. Events are going out and working as intended. And then the treasury happened. And we all were very disappointed. And so, you know, I'm not going in and saying that every time something like this happens, this is going to be the standard of what we're giving. But I definitely want people to sort of understand how hard we take it upon ourselves. And hopefully this is showcasing just how seriously we were starting to take some of this stuff.
I think that's great. Look, I wouldn't ask for this level of comp for like the disco being broken and the tooltip changed, but you know, you look at the big problem that you have now with like Apex and what you're going to do or the Apex hostiles and those players. And I think, even though I get on the Scopeless side, it's a very big precedent, but there's only 2 other times I could think of this. You had the Picard Day comp pack, which is over a year ago, and then you had the one DJ brought up, the con, and this is, in my opinion, better than both. And it's very rare to see Scopely act in this way to such a positive degree. So, this is usually we're railing on you. This is a pat on the back type moment.
It is, for sure. Yeah, I don't want it to sound like I'm complaining at all. I kind of wanted to go exactly where you just went, Echo, which is, is this kind of a turning point? Obviously, this is more than we could expect for simple bugs moving forward, but this was a good move. This was a very praiseworthy, hey, we know it's been a rough couple of weeks. We know it's been a rough couple of days. We know it's been a rough couple of months, whatever. And the generosity here, I think, is pretty solid. And I was kind of curious, if this was a shifted paradigm back there where you guys are like saying, hey, we know that we're entering into, this holiday season. We know that frustrations have been a little high, and we need to give the players a fuzzy, warm feeling again, I mean, I'm sure that had to be a piece of the conversation, right?
I mean, I think that, and so I said it started to show how we were taking this seriously. And I think that we have been very serious about this. And this month we were, like you said, we were back to that standard that we've always felt like we should and want to be at, right? Like, update comes out, things are good, players are happy to the most part, right? Obviously, there are issues that we're still tackling, which we've covered before, but from a standpoint, this is the very first time where I've seen where people were like, oh, what new bugs are introduced this update? And people were like, well, not really any. There was the disco, absolutely. I'm not trying to say that it wasn't an issue, but
for sure,
in the scheme of things over the past 6 months, this has been better. Am I crazy to say that?
This month has been better.
Yes.
You've not been trending in the right direction up till this month, but this month was good. This month was all right.
And
so
yeah, I mean, I think that we can show,
as long as it starts happening consistently.
I think this was a great opportunity for us to show just how seriously we're taking this.
I think the only thing I can add, and I do know that we both want to move on, is just please make sure it continues. Because the reason me and DJ got inundated with, oh, well, Scopely bit the bullet, they meant 4 days, is just because we still have to work on that trust level. And I mean,
that's right.
I got so many messages.
How many people rushed to claim that chest thinking it was a mistake?
Yeah.
That's the mentality that we have been trained to have.
I put it in the announcement as 4 days because we heard wrong. We were like, okay, there's no way they said that. We put 4. Yeah. And then I saw the Galaxy chat and everyone was like, don't tell anybody. And I'm like, how many days did we give again? And that's why we corrected the announcement.
But it was always meant to be 40. But I mean, if we can have, when problems happen, we address them quickly, we do stuff like this, then we can have that sentiment turn. To DJ's point, though, because we do want to say this month, DJ, I actually want you to talk about it because you love being the math guy. I love math, but this is your show. Eco, DJ, why don't you talk to him about Kira and how she makes negative mitigation, and when's that going to get addressed?
So first of all, hashtag Team DJs, hashtag Kira's the spy, hashtag it ain't going to get fixed because she's going to be revealed to be the spy. All right, I'm fully on board this train. All right, that being
That's why
said,
I'm giving it to you, my friend.
That being said, assuming for a moment, Echo, that Rev is correct and that the spy is Miles O'Brien, then we've got a seriously busted officer here. Now, I have not, to be perfectly fair, community, I've not written up a huge technical report on this and said, other than, hey, it's breaking Armadas, right, Echo? You knew that. It's breaking Armadas because of the mitigation problem. So has that been discussed internally? Like, did you guys take it one step too far when planting the spy? Obviously you didn't intend for Armadas to break. Is there going to be, or are you guys discussing Kira and a way to fix her or floor her out or something so that it's not going to actually steal directives from players unintendedly?
There's always discussions on the best way to balance this, and we are aware of that. Obviously, we're aware that Kira has problems with Armadas currently.
I hope so.
The tricky part is that, people put time and resources into this officer, and if we're going to make a change, we need to make sure that it is a positive change that everyone, or as higher percentage as possible, will agree and want, because we don't want anyone to feel like we're nerfing the officer. Right?
And by the way, that's valid.
The argument is, well, the officer doesn't work right now, so like anything you do is better. But still,
that's not the point.
She does work.
She
works exactly
so well.
as she's supposed to.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing.
She breaks the math. So
yeah, community, be aware. It's not that Kira doesn't work. Okay, it's that under certain circumstances she works so well. Yeah, she works so well that the Armada actually breaks.
But you want to, like what you said, DJ, if you had like a hard floor set in the math of Armadas to where she couldn't drive you to a certain point, that seems like the mechanical fix, assuming she's not the spy and this was the plan all along.
which is totally what I still believe. All right. I think that this is actually, I think this is Echo's brainchild. Okay. I think he wanted to come in and play a game.
You want me to come in here and put myself in uncomfortable situations like this, DJ? Do you think that
Eco really playing like, how can we break the game in a fun way? I love it.
I mean, the game is broken and it's been fun. All right. Like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for you guys to break the game on purpose. All right. And it actually have a story behind it. I truly believe, maybe not the part about it stealing your directives. Okay.
That part hopefully was not intended.
That part that was not intended.
That's my biggest concern, is when it doesn't work, that's what happens.
Yeah. So that being said, obviously I understand the conversations about approaching this carefully, because people did pay. People are expecting her to work in a certain way. The problem, and I'll just go ahead and tell you, for those of you who are listening, if you run 6 Kiras by themselves, if you ran 6 people in an Armada, 7 people in an Armada, and you're all running Cisco with full synergy, you're not going to break your Armada. Okay? Here's where it's happening. Okay? There's 2 scenarios in which Kira breaks Armadas. 1, don't ever run her in exchange. The research of the Stella is so magnificent that even 1 Kira will break an exchange Armada. Okay? Situation number 1. Situation number 2 is don't run Kira in combination with 6 of 11. And I don't even mean on the same ship. I mean, if you got 5 or 6 players going to an Armada, okay, nobody can run 6 of 11 if you're going to bring Kiras. Or nobody can run Kira if you're going to run 6 of 11s, okay? That is the 2 scenarios. Hammer says good luck organizing that, which is what the problem is, right?
Correct.
That's obviously the problem, okay? Does it apply to solos? No. That's the other funny piece of this. The piece that supports my narrative is that she's so weak. All right? She is so weak that running one of them just doesn't do anything. All right? You can run a 6 of 11 with 1 Kira on a solo, and she has absolutely no impact. All right? So it's multiple Kiras or multiple 6s and things like that are causing this thing to go foobar. So that's your PSA. Just don't run it with 6 and don't run them on Stella, Kira, that is, until Scopely is able to do something with that. Echo, to circle back around to your final statement on Kira, long story short is you guys are aware but are still discussing on how this should be taken into account?
Nope.
Wait, what?
Wow. Wait.
Maybe you didn't hear the question right. You guys have not taken any action at this point because you're still discussing on how.
Yeah, that would have been a hilarious admission. Yeah, we're not even talking about it. We don't care.
Nah, yeah.
Screw it.
Hashtag confirmed. Hashtag Echo says Kira's the spy. You're not going to have this problem in a month. All right? Don't worry about it. You're not going to have this problem in December, okay? Once the spy is revealed, then you won't have to worry about it.
We're actively still discussing and figuring out and looking at balance and how this is interacting, like you said, with like exchange armadas, right? Because I think everyone knows here how much you love the Stella research.
My M number is 157 out of 160. I'm almost there.
You're insane. By the
I'm
way.
almost
how many
done.
Stellas have you scrapped?
Oh God, dozens. Probably dozens. I don't know. Maybe not dozens.
You probably around 14 or so at least.
I was gonna say, but yeah, it's
got to be around 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's complicated just because of there's a lot of different situations like you brought up, DJ. Well, there's 2 major ones, but like it's still a lot of math, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when I have information, I'll be sure to let everybody know. I don't know what the current route is, but I know game design is talking about it, and we brought it up, and we have meetings about it. So
Okay, fair. So there you go. There's the Kira segment. Do you have any more follow up that's related to Kira, Rev? Since we want to try to segment this, because I'm going to move to something totally different now.
wait, Kira's the spy?
Oh,
Kira, of course, is the spy. Obviously.
Miles.
Hashtag Kira's the spy. Hashtag Team DJs. You know, wait, are you telling me that you're on Team Rev?
I mean, I didn't even know there was a spy until just now.
Oh my
God, whatever. You just. It's cute
If you're
that
gonna
you
make me
try.
uncomfortable, I'm gonna make you guys sigh and roll your eyes.
You know what you need
It's
to do,
cute
DJ?
that
You
you
need to
try.
send him all the lollipops you sent me. That's what you need to send.
I'm going to hashtag have a lollipop, Echo. All right. I legit. So here, the backstory, just in case, I'm sure most of our communities, Rev.
Lots of
have,
overlap.
Yeah, they know what this story is, but Echo, just to kind of fill you in, I've taken the position that it's Kira. Rev has taken the position that Miles is the spy. So one night on his Twitch, he starts some campaign for hashtag suck it DJs. All right. Hashtag Team Rev, hashtag Miles is the spy. Well, I responded, but because I'm a much more family-friendly individual, all right, I could not do
Okay,
suck it, Rev.
you are on Twitch now as well. You can't say you're family friendly anymore. I'm sorry. This is a lie.
So my suck it Rev turned
God.
into hashtag have a lollipop Rev. All right, because obviously you suck on lollipops. So I actually that's my new campaign, hashtag have a lollipop Rev, and so I actually shipped him the old school like carnival style, big, huge, 5-inch lollipops. All right, like the nice color swirls, circular thing, and freaking UPS.
Yeah,
made sure to deliver rock candy. Rock candy is
but
all
I still thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was a great bit. I hate that it got shipped apparently like with a quarry shipment and just banged around.
Yeah, they
rocks.
just drop kicked it to your front door.
But,
they were out on the city sidewalk, and it was like, okay, let's just launch this like a football. We'll punt it to his front door. So that's it. You probably can't answer this, Echo, but just a fun little thing before I go to my next question, which the community is going to enjoy, I hope. What is your position on espionage? Have you enjoyed playing this? Because I have. I know not everybody has. I think it got started pretty rough from communication standpoint, but even now, like I feel like players are probably starting to become a little bit more tolerant with it, starting to kind of figure it out. I hope this kind of event series does return in the future. I've actually had a little bit of fun with it. Where are you on Team Miles and Team Kira?
I personally really like the event. And you know me, DJ. I say this all the time, and people can say it's because I'm employed by Scopely, however you want to word it. But I think
you're paid to say your opinion. We got it.
Yeah, I think this is actually hashtag Echo opinion. I think anytime that we're doing something new, interesting, different, or trying to make events more engaging or in a way that we haven't done them before is a good thing, right? Like you said, like there was communication issues and it was confusing because we've never done something like this before. Like I could have done a better job, and I'm not falling on a sword here. I'm just saying I could have put out like a blog about how the event was supposed to work, right? That wouldn't have taken me too much time and it would have alleviated a lot of confusion. I also hope that we continue doing events like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the exact same format and the same spy sort of thing, but I think it would definitely be a really cool sort of starting point of new and different ideas. And I think we've seen a lot of new events come out recently that are like cool and interesting. Like we have this espionage series back in Strange New Worlds. We had the Strange New Cipher, which some people loved, some people hated. I still think it was a cool idea, albeit difficult.
I like most of the cipher. When we got to the musical one, that was a little rough, but I like the ideas. I think here's me. One, because it's designed to last so long. We're 3 months in. We're wrapping up in December. There needed to be a social media campaign to really promote it and get people interacting. There need to be more incentive to jump into it, more explanation. I mean, for me and a lot of people, it's just become a meh thing. Like it's not bad. It's just it's drawn out so long without having a lot of build up and without having a lot of support from the game itself, besides the events just populating. A lot of the excitement or interest has died for many. Now, there are still some diehards who, just like the people who love the missions, are obsessed with espionage. But I think anytime we do something like this in the future, we need actual, communication, more hints, more hype build up throughout the process, or it'll just kind of fizzle out.
Yeah, and again, this isn't, again, because I've seen this all the time, like, oh, Echo, you're just falling on a sword. This isn't me falling on a sword. I could have been better at doing that. And now that Beck is here, I think that hopefully we've seen that communication has just increased dramatically because there's two of us now, and it's easier for us to sort of be in two places at once. So we're going to be doing a lot more communication, blog posts like we did with the Armory. There's a lot of cool things that we want to do. So hopefully when we're doing a event like this in the future, we can have everybody on board and we're on social media about it and we're posting little things about it or making little videos or having polls and really driving the engagement around an event like this so that people can really be involved. I totally agree with you, Rev.
So my question kind of is a two-parter. I'm going to cheat a little bit, Rev. I got a two-part question.
That's fine.
The first one does center around the espionage event store. Now, there's been a lot of communication from the content creators, from live ops through us, and I'm not entirely sure if there's been a game-wide announcement from you regarding this event store. But correct me if I'm wrong, all right? I want to state this out there again, and Rev, same for you. My understanding is that if a player spent all of their chips, all right, on these limit 5 per run cooldowns, that they would ultimately, by the end of December, have the opportunity to unlock one of these items. For example, one of these new G3 epic skins, the red skins, or the gold Cardassian projectile, for example, which I find to be extremely praiseworthy before I ask my question. I think that's very good because those are previously paid-only items that you guys have offered a grinder's path for. I think that's fantastic. However, it would appear that we might be running short on numbers of runs of these events to actually get players the number of shards that they would need by the end of December. So I come back and ask you, because I don't know that you have ever publicly said this, so I'm asking for a first. Can you say definitively that the espionage event store, if a player has remained perfect and invested all of their chips into a singular projectile or cosmetic, will they have the opportunity to finish that by the wrap-up of December?
I believe so. Let me check with the person who created the event and the event store. And I also know that people have been asking, when is the last day I can spend the isolinear rods, right? So let me verify all of that and also come out with the date of like, hey, this is going to be like your last time to do this.
It should be, the chip should be done this month. Please follow up and correct. And to my knowledge, just because you included me in the question, DJ, to my knowledge, this was not without potentially an event store coming next month. If it comes next month, it was not designed to give you a full unlock just from espionage. But if an event store came around, it'd be a heck of a lot easier.
Well, that was the part 2 to my question.
Very interesting. Event store.
That's right. The part 2 to my question. Part 2 to my question is exactly that. Will the December event store be the cap off to espionage, or is espionage supposed to do it all itself? As Rev just mentioned, maybe espionage wasn't supposed to do it all, but that was never what was claimed, was it, Rev? The claim was by the end of December, you will have the opportunity to fully unlock one of these paid-only features if you're fully invested and have the right level of participation. When I say perfect participation, the community has asked in the chat, I just mean, hey, you're spending your chips on the gold Cardassian projectile every single time it comes up.
Yeah, and if you have extra, blow them on uncommons or something.
Yeah, that's what I've done.
Spin your chips.
Spin from the team is listening, and they're already following up for me.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. So the part 2 to that is indeed the event store. Obviously, then, it would seemingly make sense that we're going to see these paid-only skins. We're going to see the Gold Cardassian projectile, which, by the way, I continue to praise its effectiveness in the game. All right, if you've got an opportunity to grind that out for free, do it. All right, but this is an event store that's coming up in December, in 2 weeks, Mr. President, that has more content and maybe even more valued content released over these 4 months than what we have seen throughout much of the rest of the year. We're talking the Defiant. We're now talking the Defiant Cloak. We're talking 3 sets of strike team officers. All right. Not only that, but the Gold Cardassian projectile, these 3 skins, and several other items that have come out, advanced defenses, et cetera, et cetera. This seems like a great opportunity for the event store to kind of get a facelift. Can you tell us, Echo, and it might be a little bit early, it might be a little bit early, but can you tell us if some of these items will or will not be included in the next month event store? Strike team, all 9 of them.
So it's still being worked on. I am being looped into what is included in there. And what I can say is that we have heard the feedback that, people that have sort of gotten through G3 and G4, they're starting to see less value in the event store, right, in past months. I can say that a very highly requested item or items can be acquired in the December event store.
G5 blueprints. Tell me right now, yes or no?
Those items are. I'm just saying that there is one that I see all of the time, and there should be some good news for a lot of people.
Oh man, could it be rare TAC cores or could it be G5?
TAC cores?
G5 blueprints, rare TAC cores. Oh god, that's actually I'm excited about that. Something that we've never seen before that has value to all players. Now, listen.
I didn't say all. I'm just saying that there are. I think that people will be pleased with the event store.
Mantis BPs.
Who knows?
As long as the fix comes out in December, I'd love to see Mantis BPs.
Defiant blueprints, Defiant cloak shards. I mean, come on, give us something. Give us a yes, this will be there.
Mantis, as far as I was aware, will be there.
So that's big, right? Like we don't have to solely rely on incursions. Mantis blueprints will be there, and there will be no limits, right?
Something specifically for the G4 players?
Specifically for G4.
That's got to be the rare TAC cores.
Yeah, it's got
because I was going to say, Bubba and Trader don't need rare TAC cores anymore. Right? Am I saying that right, Bubba? You don't even need tactical cores anymore, right?
Correct.
He could use the level 60 ACC.
I was going to say, let me ask you. Let me just ask you, Bubba, what would you want in the event store? You're level 57. You and Trader both. Feel free to ask at this point while we're talking about this, because this, by the way, is what I love. And we're gonna have to do this. Let me tell you why. I have received a PM from Vice President Beck, Echo, who is currently locked out of the building and standing outside.
I need to leave.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to take a quick break. We're gonna have to take a quick break while Echo goes and lets her in the building.
I'm not in the building. I'm still at my home, DJ.
Oh,
did she leave her swipe card at home again?
Wait, what?
Oh, come on.
You're not even at work.
Building?
You have to go to the building. She's standing there waiting on you at the building.
She can get into the building. She just needs directions on how to get into the building.
Open the door.
Yeah, it's a drop.
Listen, it's over an hour as is, DJ. I've got
Tyler, push, not pull.
Clean up on before.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So we need to get like a quick yes.
Yeah, we got to do it rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay, Bubba, one item. What do you want in the event store?
Strike team.
Trader, one item. What do you want in the event store?
All the officers.
Okay, Rev, one item. What do you want in the event store?
I was going to say all non-strike team officers.
Okay. I was going to go with Defiant BPs and Defiant Cloak shards. Okay. And I like this, by the way, because I want the opportunity to kind of feed back on this early. If they hear this, then they might have an opportunity to get it in the store.
How many times have we added and adjusted things in the event store? Like,
I get it. I just, hey, I'd like for it to launch without you guys.
Around Christmas time. Who knows?
I'm just saying that if we have to
DJ.
pick, DJ, it could take you like 15 years to get the strike team officers through incursions. I'd really like them in the event store. At least the Defiant has a path. It takes a while.
It does. The Defiant Cloak does not, though.
It does not. I look, we get the cloak's good. Not hating the cloak, but I would like to be able to fight Traitor a little bit.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
I've seen Traitor shift. Good luck with that.
All right.
I've seen them on my base, Bubba. I've seen them too.
If Interceptor and Explorer strike team officers are not in the event store, then the officer section of the event store will be very sparse this month, because that is 2 of the 3 months. That is 2/3 of the officers we've received. And of course, the officers that release in the 4th month don't typically go into the event store. So I think that if there is a thought to limit those or not include them in full quantities.
No limits.
I'm just saying, if that is a thought, that is a dangerous thought, because it very severely limits the things that you can acquire in the event store in terms of officers.
Yeah, I agree. And there shouldn't be limits. I know, Echo, we've had this conversation. We don't need to have it again right now, but limits on officer shards is a very new thing. You don't do that. It's Christmas, for God's sakes. All right, I've got 2 just yes or no items, and then Rev can wrap up. Mr. President, roadmap update. We're 2 weeks after when you told us it was coming.
3 weeks.
I know. I'm sorry. That's on me. Draft should be done today, hoping to release it next week.
Okay.
I actually have all the things that I get to talk about. I have all the information. I just have to write the draft, which is what I'm trying to do. If you will let me leave this call, DJ.
He really wants to write that Voyager roadmap, DJ.
Bonus refinery.
Star Trek Fleet Command?
Do you have confirmed dates on the bonus refinery yet? Obviously, we know it's coming. Do you have a date on it?
I reached out to the Arc Runner to figure out the exact dates to let everybody know as soon as possible. Because I know everyone is wondering, because there's only, 8 days left?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Rev, rapid fire, and then we'll get ready to take our break.
All right, rapid fire. Phantom Pips, getting notifications for things that you don't even have access to. Being addressed?
Pips are actually being looked at as a whole right now.
Oh, thank
Delete
God.
them all.
Yeah,
Delete
please get rid of every single one of them. This is just one for laughs and giggles, and maybe Bubba Joe will care. Are you going to fix Tau this year?
No. God. Why are you going to fix Tau?
It's part of rapid fire.
Jeez.
Come on,
I don't have information on that right now.
Okay, well, it was for fun. Enjoy a laugh. Jeez, have a lollipop.
I don't laugh when I'm in this conversation. You guys literally just put me into a corner. And
actually, I feel like today has been
I feel like it's been very, very friendly today.
Today's been very cordial, I think. You know what? Hey, this is a good one. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, Rev. Incursion dates.
Yeah.
Incursion dates.
Well, also, I worry want bistros. If we want to hammer eco for the final 3 minutes, bi-week servers need a hell of a lot better reward than what they got last month.
Okay. Let me follow up on that. Incursion dates I don't have yet. I think that's going to be running, after the arc is over.
All right. Broken cargo displays, like for officers like Leon. Any ETA that's been out for a few months now, still bugging people.
No ETA on that.
Cool. Armada power values jacking up because of cloaking.
Do what?
When did that happen?
That's been active for a month or so now.
What, the Armada power display? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it jacks up when you cloak. So my Valdor goes down to 7 million power.
That is being tracked and looked into right now.
All right, cool. Shield recycling for Cerritos research.
Still busted.
Yep.
Followed up with it 2 weeks ago, and it's being looked into as a ticketed item right now.
Oh, good. We're 17 months and counting there.
Yay!
17 months.
Want an update? I'm giving you an update.
Oh, that's okay. All right, fair. All right. That's fair.
iOS 16 specifically has been having a lot more issues as of late. Is that being addressed? Prompt notifications being an issue, crashing, stability. iOS 16 having a lot more problems than previous iterations.
new iOS is always weird. So
yeah,
they
the
are
game
looking
for
to,
whatever reason has
whenever there's new
regularly
iOS,
struggled
there's
with
always some
iOS.
weird
So
stuff that goes on with because like the game's been out for a while and it's also developed for a lot of operating systems. So whenever time a new one comes out, yeah, yes, it's being looked at.
cool.
But
All
here,
right.
to make this easier, Rev,
Mm-hmm.
I am actually, along with Fluffy and some others, are putting together a top 10 hit list for bugs right now.
Cool. That's
Okay.
always good. All right, another real big one. I won't bother you with a lot of
Well-
small ones. Broken Zoom, especially for us Android people. Broken Zoom. Any ETA on that fix?
I know it was looked at again. Me personally, was unaware that that was still an issue for some people because I thought that it was resolved. I haven't heard someone
Still
bring it up
happening.
yet.
I've got, and I can send
Well,
you
then that's on
recent
me,
video
so,
evidence
I'll
of it
follow.
just to show you.
Rev-
But yeah,
Rev and DJ, let me follow up with you on like my top 10 list that I was going to forward, and let me know if there are some things or the order that you want them in, so that we can be aligned on this
Yeah.
stuff.
And just
in
as
fairness,
a chat,
what I have
leaderboard still being a big
also
issue.
is
So
focused on. Yeah.
And I
Because-
do want to bring this one up, although he fairly told me ahead of time there really wasn't anything to report. But for those of you still suffering from broken Alliance starbases, I have some player-derived data that I can share with you, but Scopely has not released any additional information, right? You got nothing on the ASB right now as far as new information.
Currently, other than like, I'm sure everybody saw in the patch notes, we put out some stuff that we felt was going to alleviate those concerns, and people are still having issues.
Oh, yeah.
So
it has to do just as we were sharing with you guys. At first, I thought that it was building the salvage deck. It is bigger than that. However, it's not building anything because I'm currently building the plasma processor, and I am still able to get into it. So somebody told me that they felt, Echo, it could have been building something on a specific arm where the salvage deck is, although from a coding perspective, that doesn't really make sense. But there are some issues, and the issue does absolutely 100% defined and proven. No, Custard, it's definitely not only the TAC deck because I've been broken on the salvage deck for weeks, but it definitely has something to do with being under construction. So, Echo, what I might advise to the engineering panel, what I might advise to the listeners is simply don't build anything and then go away. All right. Obviously, you're going to lose 24 hours a day, but you will still be able to mine. All right. Use the speed ups. Don't build anything. If you're going to sign offline, you can build, just speed through it, have the speed ups and speed through it. And that way you can guarantee yourself continuous access to the ASB by not building anything in the background. All right. And that's the best advice that I can offer at this point. I do know that some of the harvesters are okay. Obviously, the plasma processor is okay. But, and I do like this theory. Mimi says, TAC deck has some examples. Salvage deck has examples. They both relate to Cardassian Armadas. Maybe that is where we look, Echo. But I know they're still trying to chase this down. But the ASB just, man, it continues to be a thing. All right. I want to thank everybody who was involved today. Thanks, President Echo. We have run over on our time. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you very much. Thanks to the Reverend Deuce, and I'll allow both of them to kind of say their sign-offs here as well. But I thank both of you guys as well as our panel and all of you throughout the listening audience, be it here live in Discord, be it on our podcast platforms, or be it over on the streaming platform. Rev is taking care of the video today on the simulcast with YouTube. We appreciate that very much. Echo, give you a chance here in just a second to say your salutation to your community. Rev, appreciate you being here. What do you got to wrap up here today?
That's it. I do see people asking about Black Friday. I can't tell you that prices are cheaper, but there is some couple of cool cheap price point packs coming. Might be interested in that. So that's really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all already know who I am. Y'all know who DJ is, but feel free to hang out with us. And this will get posted for if you missed any part of this on my YouTube channel later in the week. So if you missed it, well, and you want to watch it for whatever reason, you can do that.
Appreciate it. Mr. President, final words for your constituents here on the day before Thanksgiving as we wrap up our November State of the Game.
We're all equals. They're not my constituents.
You're the president. You have constituents.
Thank you as always for letting me be here, Rev and DJ. I know we make jokes about me getting beat up or you guys harassing or bullying me, but
I just want to really clarify the beat up.
That was very nice.
Yeah, nobody did that, nor are you being assaulted physically.
It was very kind.
I am not in the corner getting hit with bats.
This was not a talking in cars episode. This was state of the game with Rev and Eco and DJ.
Yeah, I really think that these sorts of casts and meetings are really important. I'm really glad that we are doing it on a monthly basis. And I appreciate the fact that you guys, including the community here in the Talking Trek chat room and when we're on Twitch with you, Rev, are able to be just so honest and open and blunt with me. I think it's important. Sorry that I don't always have the perfect answer all of the time, but I can promise all of you guys that we're really doing everything we can to try and alleviate and make a better experience for everyone playing Star Trek Fleet Command. And we have some really, really big, exciting things coming up in the future. And I can't wait for everybody to see the roadmap, which I am going to go right now once I get to the office.
Last thing, and I'm sorry, I just have to ask this real quick. Was there any fallout to us getting to meet First Lady Miss Echo regarding quesadillas? It's like it kind of just kind of curious.
I've been sleeping on the couch for the past week, if that's what you're wondering.
You kind of need to explain this to me. Why? It kind of sounded a little bit like she was surprised to learn that you were the quesadilla guy, or that I was the quesadilla guy. Was she asking if I was the quesadilla guy?
She did not understand the inside joke that was the quesadilla. So, you got her candid response there, and yeah, I guess we're just not allowed to go out and get dinner ever again. I'm so sorry. Quesadilla, she's been thinking about it now for the past years we've been together. Of just me like mulling over and hating it.
I love this. This is great.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
DJ's is a home wrecker.
No,
DJ's is a home wrecker.
So thank you for that. The holidays are going to be great, DJ.
I'm so sorry. How was I supposed to know?
No, I hope she goes full spiteful, and I hope Thanksgiving is just nothing but quesadillas.
How was I supposed to know?
Actually, I make the Thanksgiving dinner.
I want turkey quesadillas. I want sweet potato quesadillas, baked mac and cheese quesadillas. Nothing but quesadillas.
I need to go let Madam Vice President into the building.
All right, thank you. Appreciate everybody. I'm
Good
totally
times,
wrecked
CJ.
right. I'm wrecked right now. I don't even know how to respond to that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President Echo, community manager from Scopely HQ for Star Trek Fleet Command. His name is Echo. Thank you for being here, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you play my song out for me real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.